Hi, I'm Ellen Gormley and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm starting a little bit more complicated stitch patterns for you. So today we're going to do this easy pineapple pattern. Now it is a maybe intermediate stitch pattern. It's not a beginner stitch pattern, but I think many of you viewers have already done a lot of the beginner and easy things and are yearning for something a little bit more challenging. So let's start a new series. And I'm taking this stitch pattern. It's number 74 from one of my favorite Japanese stitch dictionaries. Now, somebody recently commented that they wanted help with number 77 in this book, which is also ironic because, hey, I was just planning on kind of easing you into some of these pineapple patterns and start with this simpler one and work into more complicated ones. So let's get started, shall we? This stitch pattern is a multiple of 12, but then it's got some extra stitches. So I ended up following the diagram, but then playing around with it a little bit, and we're going to chain 32. Oh, I also real quickly want to show you this overall finished swatch here. I have it pinned out on my blocking board so that we can see the lovely shape with the negative space. But I also created for you, look at this one. This is the exact same item, only by changing color every row, I'll be able to show you how each row works a little bit better. I think you'll be able to see how it's really just very easy stitches. It's a several row repeat, but it's doable because they're all stitches that we can do together. So let's get started. I'm going to chain 32. Now I've chained 32 here, and it's hard to describe the multiple in this one because it's actually a multiple of 12. But then at the beginning and end of this swatch is a column of extra stitches, these V stitches on either side. So it's actually like 12 to here, and then you've got to add some here and add some for the turning chain. And I know you guys love my pets, which is really good because they're sniffing around and bumping the table and stuff, so I apologize for that. They are going crazy around me tonight. So that is why it is a multiple of 12, but when you add in the extra column at the end and the turning chains, it ends up being kind of an unusual number, not a multiple of 12. But it is a 32. And for this stitch pattern, we could be doing a stitch and read, I guess. I don't know that you're going to be able to see it on camera, but we are going to, oh, I know what I wanted to show you. This stitch pattern is really interesting because it is opposite-handed of normal, typical, I should say. So usually most diagrams in the world are right-handed, which means that we, when you're looking at it as a righty, and I apologize for the lefties when I flip this video, we chain this way, and then the turning chains are over here, and then we work back. But look how interesting. This diagram actually starts the chains here, and the turning chains are over here, so which is perfect for a lefty. So this is actually a left-handed diagram. Isn't that great? So it's interesting because the diagram above it is also a left-handed diagram, but the ones on the facing page, this one is a right-handed diagram. So it's just really fascinating. But anyway, it doesn't matter because a diagram we can read whether you're right or left-handed. So I'm doing 32 stitches, and I know I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the sixth chain from the hook is when I'm going to make the first V. And the V in this case is a double crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet all in the same space. So I'm skipping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the sixth one I'm going to double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same spot. And it doesn't matter to me that there is no written text for this pattern because I'm reading the diagrams. So when I read the next item, there's a chain 2, and I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains. So chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the next chain, we're going to do the bigger V here, the deluxe V, the double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, all in one stitch or space. In this case, it's the chain. 1, 2, 3. You can hear the pets crawling around in my closet, unfortunately. Then chain 2 and skip 5 more chains. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the next one, we will do the smaller V, the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And here we go. Chain 2, 1, 2. Skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the next one, we'll make the deluxe V, is what I'm calling it. There are no words to this pattern. It's all symbols, so I can call it whatever I want, can't I? 1, 2, 3, the bigger one, and double crochet in the same. Okay, 1, 2, and skipping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the next chain, we will do hopefully a smaller one. Yep, checking my work. Double crochet in the same stitch or space. And here, the last group, the last little V, there's no chain before we double crochet in the final stitch. And there's just one skipped there. So I am right on target. Yay, I love it when we're right on target on the first foundation row. Okay, so here is the first row. It looks just like the diagram when you match it up. Okay, here's the deluxe V's with the chain 3s and then the chain 1 in between the other V's. And here on the multicolored swatch, you can see it's the pink row. So I wanted to do a swatch for you in different colors so that you can see how it builds. So it is going to end up looking like this purple, the solid stitch pattern, just like in the picture. But when you look at each row in a different color, it really demystifies it a great deal and makes it so much more doable. So I just wanted to show you that this is what the first row looks like. And now we're going to do the green row. So the green row, row 2, we're going to follow the diagram. And we are going to chain 3 and turn. 1, 2, 3, and turn. And we're placing a V, the easy simple V, the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space of the first V stitch. And there is no chains there, but in this chain 3 of the deluxe V, we're doing double crochets, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then there's no chain 1 on the other end of it. So we'll have a total of 5 double crochets in that chain 3 deluxe V space. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. The thing about pineapples is that as it gets wider at the bottom of the pineapple, the stitches next to it get smaller. So when you think of, oh, whoa, Theo just jumped on the table, and to prove it to you, there he is. So sorry about that. So I have a new table. I'm trying to avoid closing them away, these pets, because then they just scratch at the door. So here comes Theo again. I'll try and brace the table so that he doesn't rock it again and cause you motion sickness. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a chain 1. So I need one more here to create this big part of row 2. All right, no chains next to the next V. They're being crazy tonight. I don't have a pet wrangler tonight, so I'm doing it all. No woof and doggy. Hobie wants to woof. All right, and we'll do that same large grouping again. This grouping here with the 5 double crochets. Okay, so we're repeating this section. So chain 1 in between double crochets. I I think it might be time to invest in a more stable overhead camera. So that would be, make my filming more comfortable and less stressful. Hopefully it's not making you guys too sick. So leaning up against the table helps me keep the cats and dog from jostling it, but just me moving jostles it. So here we go. Okay, so we're getting there. So we're finishing up this second row, which is the green row on the multicolored swatch. Okay, this is where we are. And I love this pattern because the beginning and ending of every row is exactly the same. And I find that really pleasing because I don't have to think so much. So at the beginning and ending of every row is a V-stitch. And then it ends with a double crochet in the third chain of the turning chain of the row before. And then, guess what? To turn and go back, guess what you do? You chain 3 and you keep working. So at the beginning and end of every row are the same, which really pleases me. So 1, 2, 3, which is partly why this pattern is not terribly hard for a pineapple. So here we are, we're working on it. Now we're working on row 3, which happens to be the blue row here. So you can see we had the grouping, here's the grouping, and now we're going to work on just single crochets and chain loops. So really, really not hard here for row 3. And here comes Theo again. Kitty, kitty, kitty. So, well, you have to show them yourself, Theo, otherwise they don't believe me why the camera is being moved and the tail is in frame. So I can get him back down. Get him back down. Hobie is now, the dog is now sitting at my feet, so let's see if he stays there. So remember, we begin and end every row of this pattern with a double crochet or a chain 3 as we start the row, and then a V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the V-stitch directly below it. Okay, so as I was saying with this pineapple, as you can see the shape of the pineapple, the wider it is at the bottom, then there's fewer stitches in between or negative space. And then as it gets narrower, you need more chains. So for here, there were, on the green row, there were no chains in between the fancy part and the V stitches. And then on the blue row, there's going to be 1 stitch on either side. The pink row, there's going to be 2 stitches on either side of the fancy part. And the green, there's going to be 3 stitches on the side, on either edge of the fancy part in the middle. And then for this next row, there's actually 5. So as the pineapple tapers to the top, the positive element in this piece, then the negative spaces there's more space, so there's more stitches filling in. So I just wanted to alert you that there is a method to this madness. So while it gets fatter, it's fat, there's fewer extra leftover stitches, and as the element gets narrower, there's wider spaces that need to fit the gap to keep it like squared off. I hope that makes sense. So I just want you to see that there is a little bit of a pattern there. Okay, so we're going to do a chain 1 this time, and here we are going to skip the first double crochet, and in the chain 1 space we're going to single crochet, then we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and I am looking right here in the corner of your screen on my paper here. So I chained 1, I skipped the first double crochet. In that chain 1 space, I put a single crochet, and then these are chain 3 loops. All of these little loops are going to be chain 3s, and we'll place a single crochet in the next chain 1 spot. 1, 2, 3. So for this row, for pineapples, I tend to count the little loops. So I did the double crochet 5 grouping, and then here I did there's 1, 2, 3 chain 3 loops, and look, the next row there's only 2, and then the next row there's 1. So it like builds down like bowling pins on the bowling lane there. So it narrows down. That's how they're stepped out. They span each other. They go from 3 to 2 to 1. All right, down you go, Theo. And the dog is woofing at the cat because he wants to be up on the table too. It is a menagerie here, my friends. So we will continue with the chain 3 loops, 1, 2, 3, with the single crochet in between in the chain 1 spaces. So we are now working on the blue row. So here it is, and there's a chain 3 space, chain 3 space, chain 3 space. So we're going to be continuing that. When we get done with that little part, we will then chain 1 again and do a V-stitch in the V-stitch. I love V-stitches in the V-stitches. It's the part where you don't have to think real hard. Anytime you come to a V-stitch, you're going to, mostly, until we get up here, mostly we're going to V-stitch in the V-stitch and make these columns on either side and in the middle. And then when we get up here to this green row again, we're not V-stitching in every V-stitch. But anyway, you get the sense that there's a visual order to things here. Okay, so we're still on the chain 1 in between things because we're still kind of at the relatively fat part of the pineapple. Okay, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the chain 1 spaces. 1, 2, 3. So this is kind of like an introduction to pineapples that I want to give you, and to give some of the viewers who are very adept at crocheting something a little bit more challenging to look at. And then I do want to get a little bit more complicated for a few videos here for you so that you can really stretch your skills, because you totally can do it. It's really not hard. The stitches, it's just a matter of what order we're making the stitches and how you're dealing with the fact that it's like a 14 row repeat. And because of that, that's what makes it challenging, because you have to pay attention. But it's really not difficult. Like, it's all skills you have, so you totally can do this. All right, so now we've completed the blue row. Okay, making our pineapples. Now we're going to make fewer 2 chain 3 loops, because we did 3 before. Now we're going to do 2, and then in the green row we'll just do 1. So it's decreasing, making the pointy part of the pineapple. Okay, so now we are working on the pink row, and so we are, guess what, chain 3 and turn. And you know that because I already told you that every start and finish of a row in this pattern is exactly the same, which is really delightful. It's a delightful pineapple. So maybe that's what I ought to call this pattern, the delightful beginner pineapple. I think I will. So now, because we did 1 chain in between groupings, this time because it's getting narrower and pointier at the top of, as we're getting closer to the top of the pineapple, we're going to do 2 chains in between the stable V-stitch columns and the fancier part. So 1, 2, I'm also still following my diagram. So, and it tells us 2 chains. That's also, but just so that you can understand the rhythm of it. All right, so we're going to skip this little part here and skip the single crochet, and in the chain 3 loop, we're going to single crochet, and then 1, 2, 3. And remember, there's only 2 1, 2, 3 loops on this one because we did 3 last time, and it's decreasing. So here's the second one, and single crochet in the chain 3 loop. Okay, so do you see it now? Do you see it here? So we had 3, 1, 2, 3, and now we just have 1, 2. Okay, and we are right here on the colorful swatch. So we had the blue row where we had 1, 2, 3 chain 3 spaces, and now we just have 2 of them, like here in the pink row. And then we have 2 chains in between the elements because of that tapering. All right, yay. Okay, so chain 2. So when you kind of see the logic of it and the order of it, then it makes it a whole lot more sense, and you can kind of predict where you're going, and it makes the pattern so much easier to memorize. So I'm placing the V in the V right on top, stacked on top. And then remember, we're on the chain 2 of the spacing in between elements. We're single crocheting in the chain 3 loop, and 1, 2, 3, single crocheting in the next chain 3 loop. So that makes 2, well, this will make the second one. There's the second one. So you have to actually anchor it to become another loop. So here's one and here's one. Those are my chain 3 loops after 1, 2, 3 there. So I think it really helps to see the different colors per row. So I just made the 1, 2, and then we're going to chain 2 and do another V stitch. And I just left all my loops hanging because it's just a swatch. And I just wanted to show you just more clearly how each row really is super simple. So we're doing a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, which is the V for this pattern, except for the deluxe V with the chain 3 spaces. Okay, so we're doing okay. We're cranking right along now. So, and remember at the end here on the book ends, the columns of V stitches, there's no chains in between the column of V's and the column of double crochets that make the edge. So I'll just double crochet in the final stitch because we begin and end every row the same. So 1, 2, 3 and turn. And start with a V stitch like we have every row so far. And now that we finished the pink row, we're going to do the green row. So remember, if we did a chain 2 in between elements, we're doing chain 3 this time in between elements. So here's a chain 3, here's a chain 3, here's a chain 3. And look how easy this row is because we have our columns of V stitches and then we just are down to 1 chain 3 loop that spans the 2 below it, here and here. Okay, does it make sense to you? I am deliberately moving a little bit faster because this could be a super long video, and I was intending for this video to be kind of the next step for people. So hopefully you've made the leap with me. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then V in the next V. And then we have one more opportunity to work on the next pineapple column again. So we are chaining how many again? 1, 2, 3. And as we see these 2 chain 3 loops here where I'm tapping, that's where we're going to single crochet, chain 3, single crochet to span that. And we're continuing to reference our diagram. 1, 2, 3. Single crochet in the next. Make sure that we are on track. And you know what? We are not. We are not. I made a mistake. Look at this. It's looking like a rainbow. I put the single crochet before. I put it in the chain 2 space and it does not belong there. It belongs in the chain 3 space and then here. So I'm just ripping back there and correcting my mistake. Not a big deal. In crochet, I've got 1, 2, so we need 3. And then skipping, whew, good thing I saw that. 1, 2, 3. Or my pineapple would be crooked. Do you guys remember when I did the veggie tray showdown and I used a pineapple core for the core of my Christmas tree in my veggie tray? Check out my Just for Fun playlist. It was quite comical. I really enjoyed myself with that. But hey, my pineapple was crooked, just like my pineapple would have been crooked here if I hadn't figured out that my chain 3 span needed to cross over the little bridge. Okay, so we have the pineapple shape here. And I had made 2 chain 3 spots right here and here. And I need to span that with a chain 3 group. Now the mistake I just almost made was I almost put the single crochet here instead of here. So it's hard to see when it's all one color. And if you want to practice patterns just like this with one color at a time, it really helps you understand the mechanics of the pattern. So instead of placing the single crochet here, it belonged here and then chain 3. So we are back on track. we finish with a double crochet, V-stitch in column, and then a double crochet for the final stitch. Now that we have finished the pink row, we are going to chain 3 and turn and do the green. So chain 3 and turn, the chain 3 becomes our first double crochet. We do a double crochet V-stitch in the column, the V-stitch, the chain 1 spot of the space of the V-stitch below it. And now we are working on green. So as we work on green, we've done the V and the V, our column of V's here. So we've got, oh, we already did the green. Now we're on blue. 1, 2, 3. So then here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we single crochet in the chain 3 space. So here's the chain 3 space, and here's the chain 3 space. So V in the column of V's, chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, V stitch in the column of V's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet in the middle of the chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, V in the column of V's. Okay, so we're going super fast, but I think you can see where we're going. You can always pause and rewind and watch, but now we're at a 1, 2, I dropped it, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to single crochet in the chain 3 space. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we will V in the V, that middle column of V's that we've been working on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the diagram, you can always just count the loops, count the ovals in the diagram. And here is where we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But look, they handy dandy gave a number of 5 there, so that you don't even have to bother to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet there. So hey, handy dandy, love that. Okay, so as we do this all the way across, then we're going to V in the V. Did I do that right? Nope, we're not in a V. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is when we single crochet in the chain 3. See what I'm saying about it's really not hard, but you have to pay attention. So that's where we put the single crochet. And where I am looking right now is at the top of this pineapple in that chain 3 space. That's where the single crochet is going. So that's where I put that one right there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to V in the V. And double crochet in the final top of the chain 3 turning chain right here, and chain 3 turn. We're almost there, folks. 1, 2, 3, and turn, V in the V. Love that. So I have no idea what number of row we're on. I don't even really care. I'm just following the sequence of the diagram, but the numerals along the side of the pattern actually tell you that was row 1, so this one's 2, this one's 3, this one's 4, and then that one's 5, because it tells you. So they're not numbering every row, but they're telling you enough that you can count in between. So we have now just done the blue row. And so now we're on the pink row. So the pink row, we did a double crochet V here. Now we're doing a double crochet V in the chain 5 spot with no chains in between. Then we're doing another double crochet V with no chains in between. I can move the pin to show you. There's no chains in between there. And that's important because when we do the green row, it's going to snuggle in between these double crochet V's, but there's no chain there to hold it. So it's just going to go in that spot, which is fine. So then we're double crochet V set in the V, 5 in the chain 5 space, in the chain 5 space, and then in the V again. So this is a super easy row. There's no chains in between. We're just doing the V's all the way across. Okay. We're skipping over that chain 1. I'm sorry, not chain 1, single crochet, that single solitary single crochet. Okay, and then I will lay it down and show you. These are all elementary stitches that you know how to do. It's just because there's so many rows in the repeat and it might be an unusual placement for you that it makes it a little bit more challenging, but it's really not hard. It's not even shaped. It's all in a square, so it's not even decreasing. Okay. And V and the V, and then I'll lay it down and show it to you again. We are on the pink row in the multicolored swatch, ending with a double crochet in the top of the chain 3 turning crochet. Okay, all right, here we go. So here's what it looks like. We're doing it, friends. So here's the pineapple. Can you see? It's like, maybe you can't see it real well with the lighting. Okay, so the pineapple is a general shape right there. It goes to, it's fat at the bottom and then goes to a point here at the green. Then we have this bridge row of blue and this bridge row of V-stitches, which I just made that were pink. And then we do the green row, which is what I'm going to show you next, which is essentially the same exact as row 1, only we're working into the previous row instead of working into chains. And then that is the complete pattern. And then you'll just keep repeating the sequence over and over again. But let's make the green row together, and then I want to show you the blue and the purple swatches so that you can see the V's or the pineapples a little bit better. Now remember, beginning and ending of the row. See, you're already memorizing it. Okay, so the V and the V, column of V stitches, and then for this one, like I said before, it's very extremely similar to the beginning. So we're doing V, and then we have 2 chains, and then the deluxe V, and then 2 chains, and then the V. And you just have to be careful where to put them. So I did the V in the column, then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm skipping the next V, and in between the 2 V's, right there, I'll put a deluxe V. The deluxe V is what I'm calling it. It's just the V stitch for this pattern that is 1, 2, 3 chains instead of 1 in between the double crochets. And then we're chaining 2 because we're back to that beginning row. We're doing a V stitch in the V stitch right here with just the chain 1 in between, just the regular V stitch. Then we're chaining 2 because that's what we're doing for this one. We're also, you can see it on the diagram too, that when we're doing this regular V, chain 2, deluxe V, chain 2, regular V. So we're right on target. And then we, in between these 2 V's, so here's a V and here's a V, in between them, in this spot here, even though there's no chain, that is where we're stuffing in the deluxe V. And Hobie is downstairs. He probably is seeing his reflection in the window. He tends to go a little nuts when he sees his reflection. Okay. And then we are skipping that V, and in this one, we'll do the one final one. And here comes Theo. He's getting prepared to jump. There he is. So here comes Theo, my predator, my yarn predator, my yarn hawk. Okay, dog. Okay, kitty. You're shaking my table. Down you go. Down you go. And we are double crocheting in the final stitch. So this is the complete repeated pattern. So here, let me put it this way. So we have, there it is, all of it. That's all the skills you need to know for this pattern. As you can see, it's all stitches you do know. It's all stitches you do know. Here, now I'm going to put this right here and leave it for a moment. So if you are watching this on your phone, you can take a screenshot. Take a screenshot of it now, and then you can see the pattern and take it with you. And then here it is in all solid purple. So I think you can see the pattern really well in this solid purple because I've pinned it out so you can see the negative space around this diamond pineapple-y shape here. And as the pineapple is wide, there's fewer chains. As the pineapple gets narrower, there's more chains for more space. So I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to beginner pineapples, and I hope that you'll stick around and are interested in working more complicated pineapples. And I have had a request to do this number 77 pineapple. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet. It looks pretty gorgeous. So I've had a request to do that one, so that one will likely be coming up soon. So thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it's such a long video. I hope you got what you needed out of it. Please hit like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss a thing.